Just enjoying myself, Adam. I absolutely love that intro music. You've absolutely smashed it, mate. Oh yeah, we're live. Hello, everyone. Good evening, everybody. It is Monday night. We are live across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for the Suffolk Non-League Show. I am James. He is Adam. We are here for the next 2 hours. Let's go with 2 hours. Let's try and set ourselves a deadline tonight. 2 hours. I don't think we're going to be able to reach it, but we're 2 hours. We're here for your Monday night pleasure. There's no Monday blues in this show. And remember, it's the only show for non-league football content on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Adam, first of all, how are you doing this evening? So you well?
Yeah, very good indeed. Not too bad. Been excited for this one this week. It was all a quiet week in football until the weekend happened.
100%.
A very quiet week until the weekend. And I mean, the news keeps rolling in with the FA Cup announcement today with a few extra bits and pieces. I know it doesn't affect us too much, but football news seems to have come alive since Saturday. So,
yeah, definitely. We've already got loads of you pouring in to the chat for tonight's show. We really appreciate everybody coming on board as well, as we normally do. Let's get our housekeeping out of the way. Once again, we are delighted to be able to say that tonight's program is sponsored by our two companies you will see above mine and Adam's head. You've got GBS, which is a family-run construction company in Ipswich, operating nationwide with over 30 years experience, offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety, and asbestos removal. And Starling and Lock, self-employed electrician since 1989, offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses. He's an NIC, EIC member. Both links.
Nailed it, James. Nailed it.
Go. Oh, it's not like I've been practicing before we went live. Both links for those two companies are in the description below. If you're interested in either construction or any electrical work, then those are the places to go. And we really appreciate what those guys have done. And it's enabled us to continue and grow this program and grow the show, which has been incredible, which is absolutely incredible. Adam, did you know that tonight is episode 10?
Genuinely didn't.
Episode 10. Can you believe we've done 10 of these? It's been mad.
Well, I've done 9, but yeah.
Well, all right, go on. Ruin the moment.
I've ruined it for myself, but no, 10 already is amazing. And so many of you have been here with us since episode 1.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Before we get your welcome messages up on the screen, we do have to just give a shout out, first of all, to our partner clubs. You'll see them up on the screen there. All of the clubs involved. If you want to become a partner club, if you are still one of those people that hasn't messaged Adam, what are you doing? Contact him on Twitter directly at the Adam Wade. I thought I was going to say at the real Adam Wade, just in case if there's a fake one out there at the moment who's pretending to be you nowadays.
That was actually my old account, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, I got locked out.
So if you want to become a partner club, just contact Adam directly on Twitter and we will make sure that we add your name to these graphics. Adam, just to briefly go through what kind of things that they get from the service by becoming a partner club.
Yeah, so basically we're now starting to reach out to the partner clubs, so offering interviews with members of staff from those clubs on a priority basis in terms of getting people in. There's going to be more interaction in terms of us being able to put the name of the club out each week. This graphic gets shown every week. So it's more about pulling the community together. In return, it's just a retweet on our show, which is amazing from everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And again, a shout out to everybody of ours who is a Patreon member and also the one-off Ko-fi donations. Your name will appear on this graphic if you decide to either put in, as I said, the one-off Ko-fi donations, which are a price of a coffee. You can help towards the running cost of the channel, just like the guys on the right-hand side have done. Or if you want to take that support one step further, you can do a monthly optional service, which you can pull out at any point and decide that you don't want to do that, or you can continue to do it on a monthly basis, just like the guys over on the left hand side does. And we really appreciate you, because without you the show can't continue. It's we've put in a lot of time and effort into the show, but with your support it's gone that one step further. So we really do appreciate everyone who has got involved with that. Adam, let's get a few people up on the screen. We've got Ryan Johnson, as always. Evening, lads. Hope you're well and recovered after Saturday's, I say disappointing, but it was a heroic performance by Bury Town. We'll get more into that later on in the show. Ben Moore, hi, lads. Hi, Ben. Hope you're doing well. Connor Ellis is in the house. Love your commitment, mate. Absolutely love it. Luke Gifkins, good evening, mate. The Wiz Beach game was good against the Mighty Ipswich Wanderers, rather, with both teams finishing the game with 10 men. Stuart Miller's in the house. Evening. Hope you're doing well. Now, look at this, Adam. Broken my phone, so I had to steal my daughter's tablet to log in. Hashtag commitment. I'm absolutely loving that.
Let's hope she doesn't want to check Instagram or something halfway through the evening, mate. Otherwise, there's going to be problems.
Let's face it, he's 50% of our comments. We can't afford to have you disappear, mate. We can't afford to have you go. Dan Barnard, there is no deadline on this show. I know, Dan, I know. But, you know, do you know what? Every single time that we get to a certain point in the evening and people go, come on, lads, don't you think you want to wrap it up? We always have to say this. We always try to go for a deadline, but it never works. It never works, does it? Let's face it.
Time with us too.
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. Matchday Marketing, evening, Joes. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Mike Oakley's in the house, evening. Oh, Jamie Sandons, as always, evening, gents. Thanks very much again for coming on, mate. Ian Moyes, evening. Irvin is in the house, evening, everybody. Alex is also in the chat as well. Hope you're doing well. Tony Stone, good evening, gents. Sidekicks for Sports, good evening, gents. Official Westfield, evening, chaps. Nothing happened for a Saturday. Hashtag null and void. We'll get into that. And Bucks is in the house, evening, guys. Hope you are all doing very well. One more thing. Let's just get this all out of the way, and then we will get straight into the news that has broken over the weekend. If you're watching this on Twitter, please give the video a retweet at this very moment. Let's spread this around to as many people as we possibly can. If you want to put this in your group chats, if you want to put this into your WhatsApp groups, let's get the word spread about the Suffolk Non-League show. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and give the video a thumbs up, because it really helps with the algorithm that YouTube have. I don't understand how it works, but the more likes, the better it is, the more people it shows to, all that kind of stuff. And if you are on Facebook, share the video as well. Adam, housekeeping done. Let's get into the breaking news. And I know a lot of people from the SIL community are going to want us to talk about this one. We have the news that I found out about on Sunday, and I had to keep very, very quiet, despite the amount of people that were messaging me about it, that Dean Cooper has resigned as manager of Achilles FC. Where does the club go from here? When we first talked about it, Adam, and when you first saw the story, what was your initial thought? What was your initial reaction?
I wasn't actually all that surprised, to be honest, and that's without knowing the reasoning behind it. Dean's had a really tough start, really tough start, and I think you could tell how important this week's game was going to be for him.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of a wobble, I think, in the week for the squads, with Hilliard going to Cranes, and then all of a sudden there's the 3-0 loss at the weekend, and it just didn't feel good. And like Dean said, it put up before, it's an emotional game for him.
Yeah.
Really emotional game. And it was always going to be difficult to take. So, yeah, I'm not massively surprised. And it's been a really difficult start for him. And to be honest, a lot of people were talking about Achilles with a big change and a big chance to build and go again. And it just hasn't happened for him.
Yeah. I think when there was a lot of upheaval and a lot of change that went on at the club over the summer. Do you just think that, because I'm going to get to both statements in a moment, because Dean has provided us with a statement, which he didn't have to do. He could have just left it for the club to make an announcement, or he could have just posted something on Twitter. So we really appreciate Dean reaching out to me, because I found out before people started. The rumour mill just went absolutely crazy on Sunday. I was expecting to have a nice day with my family. I couldn't do it because my phone was just pinging every 20 minutes or so. It was just ridiculous. It has been a very tough start. It has been difficult, but when you go through that amount of change, it does often need time. It doesn't just click straight away. You get some managers get very lucky. It will click straight away, but for a lot of others, it does take some time.
Yeah, I suppose you need to talk about your levels of personal expectation in that as well, though. And that's your variable, which will lead people to make the decisions they do and do what's right for them. You also don't know how like things affect people mentally as well. Like when you are putting in performances, but the results aren't going right, then other weeks you may see it that the performance isn't right. You're still not getting any results or anything. That's going to affect you. And like if you can't enjoy it, then I say with everything in life, if you're not enjoying it, bin it off.
Yeah.
It'd be the right thing for him to do from that perspective. Let's see what he's said and what the club have said.
Yeah, I'm going to bring the two statements up on the screen. And then what I want you guys to do in the comment section is let me know, what was your initial reaction to it? And then what is your reaction after I've read these two statements? All right. So we had, first of all, Achilles saying over on Twitter, we would like to announce, which I don't know why they would like to announce. I think that's just been poorly worded. We would like to announce that Dean Cooper has decided to leave the club to allow him to spend more time with his family. We would like to wish Dean all the best for the future and thank him for his efforts this season. Lee Osborne will work in the interim with Merv Henry and the first team captain as we look at what direction the club moves in next. So that's Achilles' statement.
I hate that final line as well. I read this and I thought, what do they mean? What direction the club moves in next?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? They just mean we'll look to appoint someone as soon as possible.
I mean, maybe somebody who is connected to Achilles would like to. Maybe somebody in the comment section can kind of clarify that. I don't know, because it's difficult, because maybe the club have kind of one idea about where they want to go and maybe management had another direction, or what are they now wanting to do? Because Dean had a very structured way of what he wanted to do and how he wanted to play. So I don't know. Maybe that's something now they wanted to revert back to what they had previously. I don't know. Maybe somebody can let us know in the comments. But this is what Dean sent to me. All right. So this is Dean's statement. He hasn't put anything out on Twitter as far as I'm aware. He hasn't said anything publicly about it. So this is the first statement that we've got from him himself. So as of today, the Sunday the 25th, I have stepped down as manager of Achilles. The time has come to finally walk away from Achilles and football everywhere for a while, as my family and mental health come first. I suffer with bipolar disorder, and I'm not ashamed for others to know this, as it's not something to be ashamed of. I manage it well and have done since 2001 when diagnosed. It's just the effort of starting from scratch and building and all of it on my own. It's now taking over my life mentally and putting my family second, which is not right. When I took the job, I believed I could turn it around and build. And in a way, I have, and proud of the fact that I did this. The results have not come yet, and the club sits bottom of a division where, if honest, it does not deserve to be, as the players have all worked hard for me. It's a shame I have to walk away and not see this season out. But as I've said, the constant effort and work needed with no support has taken its toll on myself and my family, which needs to be my main focus. I am fine mentally, but walking away now before it gets to that point. I wish Achilles all the best moving forward, and I'm sure they will be okay. And once I've had a little break from football, I will be back and about supporting them. Cheers from Dean. Adam, initial reaction to that? I mean, it goes hand in hand with what you were saying before. You had heard the statement in regards to mental health. It's played a big factor in his decision making.
As someone myself that's struggled, I think that you can tell Dean has had help in the past and he's doing the right thing before it makes everything else fall, because it's almost a domino effect when you get in a bit of a rut with things. And
yeah,
however much you love football, it's not worth making yourself ill over.
No.
And 100%. If it was getting on top of him, I appreciate what he's saying about putting his family first and that, but part of putting his family first will come from the aspect of how if it did get too bad, how it would make him feel, and the fact that your whole family has to deal with that. It's really difficult to actually hear. I think I struggle to listen to that and read it as you're going through, because
I have to admit,
I would never have known that about Dean myself. I know other people closer to him may have done, but I wouldn't have done. And
no,
to know that you're dealing with these other struggles and juggling other things, like it just sounds like he's done the right thing for him.
Yeah,
no more, no less. Like,
because I have to admit, I was exactly the same when he sent it to me. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what was the right thing to say. I didn't know how to, all I said was I replied to him saying, I think you've made the right call. That's as much as you can say on it. And I think at a time like this, and we've all seen the news today of the young lad from Manchester City's academy who sadly passed away. Only 17 years old. Jeremy Whiston was his name. Mental health in football is something that we all need to continue to talk about, and not just in football, but with people, with everyone in general. And as I said, I'm glad Dean's made the decision that he has done, because how long did it continue to go down the road of a defeat, a draw, another defeat? Do you know what I mean? And then it doesn't help, does it? It snowballs, and he's made the right call.
And you're always going to look at yourself at the end of a game, and if you're already struggling, looking back at yourself and deeply analysing and procrastinating on what could have been is not going to be the thing that's going to keep you up.
Yeah.
In terms of as you go along, it's hard. Like, when as a channel, we haven't really spoken about mental health at all so far, and it's not something we've avoided. It's just not something that's really come up until now. So I think it's taken me. It genuinely has taken me by surprise, somewhat, to hear it. And the chat's very, very quiet. So I can imagine that. Yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, let's bring up a few people's comments on this. From Dan Barnard, he said, "Poor from people that left Dean on his own. He tried his hardest to get people in that he thought would help him, but just left him doing everything on his own." Gutted for Dean. He done well, even to get a side out after going to Achilles with 2 players signed on. I know I give Achilles a lot of stick, and I still want them to get relegated, but I really like Dean. I appreciate the honesty there. That's really good comment there. Psychics for Sports just says, surely they want to try and move forward. How do you move forward? What direction does the club now go in? Do they continue along the same lines of what Dean was trying to do, or, as I said, do they revert back to what they've known previously? Fox in the Box said it's probably just poor semantics more than anything else. Sidekicks for Sports. I don't know Dean and have nothing but respect for him after hearing that. We wish him all the best. Dean's actually got. I didn't expect Dean to come on tonight. I didn't actually think he was going to be around on here. He's just put, "I'm all good. I just needed to go before it went the wrong way. I'm still here watching and loving the game. The F I put in made family come second. I thank everyone for understanding."
Well, thanks for dropping in, Dean.
Yeah, really, really appreciate that, mate. Because it's, as Adam said, it's not an easy subject to cover. And it's not something that, as Adam said, we haven't purposely not talked about it for a reason. I just think it's something where we could sit down and prepare for a more broader conversation if people wanted us to talk about that. But I'm going to say something, and it sounds like a bit of a flippant remark, but if anybody needs to talk at any point about anything that's going on, I know we all have a joke and a laugh on this program, and everyone jumps in the comment section, etc. If anybody ever wants to talk, I don't know if I can be of any help at all, but if anybody wants to talk, my DMs are always open, and I'm happy to help in any way that I possibly can. I don't know whether or not that's any sort of comfort for anybody at all, but the option is there for people. If you want, as I said, my DMs are open. I think. No, they definitely are.
Made you open them.
They definitely are. Just reach out. Just reach out. That's all I can say on that part.
I definitely back that up from my own point of view as well. And I think, to be honest, after hearing that and actually getting a bit more realization about how it affects people, like locally, I think that's all we can do. Just encourage people to talk and like just know how important it is, and know that we're a different set of ears if you want a different opinion or just someone to sound off to.
Yeah, because, and again, everyone's own battle is their own battle, and everyone's own things that are going on are individual to them. So for somebody to come on like myself or like Adam to say, well, we know where you're coming from, we don't, because it's all individual to you. And myself and Adam, we've both talked about things in the podcast that we've done previously where we've both I remember talking to Darren Eady when we sat down with him, and we both kind of opened up on stuff that's gone on with us individually. We've both kind of gone through things ourselves. So if anybody wants to talk, as I said, the option is there. Do you know what I mean? That's I think we'll kind of leave that part like that for the time being. Do you
agree?
Anything we want to add on that?
Shane's comment.
Yeah, let's bring up a few more. So we've got Maverick UK. Things are tough these days in football. Players tend to move around in groups, follow managers, etc. This can have big impacts, and creating stability in a club is very difficult. Shane, it is very important to talk about mental health, especially as we are usually too proud to talk. No worries, Ben. As I said, I don't know if it will mean a huge amount to people, but if the option is there. Ben Moore, Dean is such a legend for speaking out. It's a shame no one came in to help him, but mental health comes first. Achilles, where they will go will be interesting. I can't see them going back to what they know. Paris has said nowadays managers don't get players in, players get players in. You'll rarely find a decent player go to a club just for a manager. That's a very interesting point. Yeah. Very, very interesting point. I would, having talked to a few managers recently, I would probably tend to agree with that.
Massively.
So yeah, as I said, it's never nice to see a manager leave a football club. But I think this one has been done for the right reasons. And as people in the comments have been saying, it's going to be very interesting now to see where Achilles go as a club, what direction they decide to go in now. Honestly, don't know. It could go. It could go anyway. I think the main thing for them is they need to just. It sounds daft and it sounds like the obvious thing. They just need to get a win. They just need to start getting some sort of consistency going. And who knows? All it takes is a couple of results to pull things around, and all of a sudden you're back kind of in mid-table, and and away you go.
Yeah, I think everyone will be looking at it and just wanting them to pick up results. For as long as Dean was there, all I wanted to do was see him pick up some points each week, and get a run going. So, they'll want to push on and see where they go. I mean, I think the only one that doesn't want them to pick up points is Vinny. But all jokes aside, hopefully they can just turn things around and push on.
Yeah, definitely. Ian Lord, we're just going to bring a few more of your comments up, and then we're going to move on to our next topic. So we've got Ian Lord. This show alone helps some with talking and opening up as I guess, mental health
first aider.
There you go. As a football community, we can help each other. Don't be scared to ask, "Are you okay?" Not once, but twice. I think that's a very, very good message on there. Joe Jones has said Achilles has a great assistant at start of the season and should bend over to help him. Involved as a fan, I noticed he had the players on side and talked a lot of sense. They would do well to get him back. There you go. That's a good message of support on that. Paul Granger, Achilles have a fantastic youth setup now. In long terms, that's probably where they will head. And Dean has just said Achilles will be okay, and I hope they turn it around on there. And Fox in the Box has said, we sort of people on social media after games. It's a fair comment.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm not guilty for that occasionally.
Oh God, yeah, God, yeah. I mean, I'm especially if Ipswich lose, I'm the first one to kind of jump
It does make you think, doesn't it?
on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it does make you think. It does.
Yeah, it really does. Kudos for highlighting the importance of mental health, lads. Several clubs, but one football family. I like it, and that's the message we're going to leave this topic on. So the next one we want to bring you, the next bit of news, we had Mark Watts on the show last week. It went down very well with people in the chat asking him lots of questions, and we have some exclusive news to reveal his next club, which I think is absolutely amazing. He sent me the message about 20 minutes before we went live. I was like, oh my God, can I reveal this? And luckily he had said that we can. So I'm delighted to say that Mark Watts is joining Debenham LC's reserves as assistant manager to Sean. Now, Sean, I believe, is a regular in our chat. He often gets involved in the comments. If you are in, Sean, let us know about why you decided to bring Mark on board. But Adam, your initial reaction to that, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a good move. Debenham are going well. The reserves, like I know it's further down than we cover, so people wouldn't have seen it, but they are going very, very well. And Mark's picked something up. Sean's obviously seen what he's about and fancies him to add something to it. And I think for Mark getting involved in a setup where he's going to be an assistant, and like Debenham have got brilliant facilities as well. I think that'll be really good for him and give him another dimension.
Yeah.
To what he's doing, and he's got that year or so experience behind him from Stowe as well, so he's getting straight back involved. He's not sitting out of the game for any duration of time. You could tell he wasn't going to.
Are you maybe a little surprised he's gone for an assistant manager role based on the fact that he was at the number one last time, or do you think that what's happened this year, maybe he just wants to keep himself involved in football, but maybe not have the whole pressure on him, so to speak? Do you know what I mean?
I've got no doubt he's capable of being taking a management role again, but it depends what you fancy after the most recent experience that you've had.
Yeah,
this again comes down to a mental point of view. In my mind, with everything that's gone on, has he got the confidence to dive straight back into management again, or does he want to get to grips with it and go in as an assistant and not have quite the volume of hassle, which is clearly went through at Stowe. I don't. I'm sure he'll be able to work really well there, and it's good experience for Sean to bring in with him having that managerial experience.
And as you said, it goes back to the facilities now that he's going to be working with. Again, that's then another string to his bow. Do you know what I mean? That's another thing that he can then add onto his CV to say, I've worked at this level and now I've worked at this level.
Yeah.
It just adds to the overall package, doesn't it?
Yeah. We spoke last week about levels that you go in at. Mark was quite open about the fact that people don't see it as being very prestigious doing an 18 management and stuff. I think he's got a lot of perspective, and he'll understand and be really clear in his mind about the fact that it doesn't really matter the level that you go in at. It's what you're involved with and what you're building towards. Yeah.
We've had sidekicks for sports, and I think it's a good move for him, especially with Sean. He will enjoy it more being assistant manager. I probably tend to agree with that. As I said, he'll still be involved and he'll still be having an active role at the club, but it just means that, as I said, the pressure is not going to be on him to constantly be the one making those phone calls, getting the players in. Do you know what I mean? As I said, I think it works out quite nicely for him.
Yeah, so I think it's a good move. I really positive.
Definitely. So that is one bit of news, and as you guys will know, we talked about it on Twitter. We have got another guest on tonight's show. We're going to be bringing him in just a few moments because, as you would have seen on Twitter, there was quite a good reaction to this, actually. From an SIL perspective, because often the big teams, when they make an announcement, it gets quite well publicized. But this one, actually, it was a very, very good reaction online with the fact that Fergus O'Callaghan has joined Stanton FC as part of the management team in SIL Div 1. And I'm delighted to say that Fergus is on the show now. How are you doing, sir? You all right?
Good evening, lads. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Good. A bit nervous.
How many cups of coffee have you worked your way through while you've been waiting
probably
for
us? Probably had a couple and probably 10 fags, even though I don't smoke. You know what I mean?
You have no need to be nervous. If Adam can do it, you can do it.
We look alike, actually. I need some glasses that could look like him.
Yeah, got the beards going on, haven't we?
Yeah, there you go, that.
Who's got the better beards? There you go. That's for the comment section. Who's got the better beards? Me, Adam, or Fergus? Let us know. I'd love to hear your response.
Mine shows my age, I think.
So you, as I said, the news that broke recently is that you are now part of the management team over at Stanton. First of all, you're kind of why Stanton, I suppose, is the big question.
I wanted to kind of step back really from the money and the big league and the turning on that all comes with it. And I wanted to kind of I'm a very humble person, people that know me, and I'm hard working, so I wanted to try and just get back into the coaching side of things and assist the two lads there, like Matt Musgrave and Gary Newman. They asked me about joining up. They're struggling in the table a little bit, and it appealed to me. The club are trying to move forward finally. They've got some new floodlights in the training area.
Yeah,
and they've also just started talking about a 4G in the village. So, that's in early days planning. But
wow,
I think finally they're going to, go all out.
Right. So when you've been appointed, and as I said, the Stanton message that came out on Twitter was part of the management team. What does that actually mean? Because there's many levels of management team. Have you come in as the number one? Have you come in as an assistant? What have they said to you? What have the club ideally said is your role?
I respect what they had in set up there already. The two lads. So I've seen myself as going in an assistant.
Right. Okay.
I'll happily, whatever's asked of me on match day or training night, I'll happily give it 100%.
Right. Okay. And just obviously, I know some of the roles that you've been in before, and you mentioned about maybe taking a little bit of a step back. For some who look at this as the last club that you were at, which I'm just going to get my history up on here, as Walsham first team manager. Why the step to Stanton? Because that is, from some people looking on the outside, is quite a bit of a drop.
People probably see it as a drop, but I see it as a new challenge. Right. I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy to coach or manage. Wherever people who see me in the game or know me in the game know I'm very passionate about it. And going back to what Adam said earlier about the mental thing and all that side of the game, I think it's been a very challenging 12 months.
Yeah.
And I also felt personally that, like Dean, it's sometimes decisions are made kind of outside of your control, really. So I thought, looking at SIL, Saturdays, less time away from the family or whatever like that. My daughter plays for Cambridge City, so that's a commitment twice in the week. So, and that's a Sunday as well. So I was trying to balance everything up, really.
Right.
And I worked with Matt Muzz at Walsham with the underage section. He does a team there.
Yeah.
And I see how much it means to him. And obviously his Paul's brothers at Stowe. I want to be around good people. I don't want to be around people who are in it for, say, the image or, the drama that goes with football. I don't want drama.
Yeah.
This might sound a bit like surreal, but I want to be around real players.
Yeah.
Players who would give you 12 months, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100% understand that.
Yeah.
That is one of the things I do like about the SIL. I have to admit. Sorry, go on.
Well, I'm just going to say, how can you be a coach if someone's going to be there for 4 weeks and he's gone because he's not getting an extra fiver? You know,
The tracksuit collector, I call them.
I love football. I played it Saturday and Sunday, and there was a
Yeah.
nightclub in the middle of the night before that. You know what I mean? I just think the game's changed.
Right. So from Adam, did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I was going to just add on. Like, obviously, you were sort of out of you weren't actually attached to a club, were you, during the COVID break and stuff like that? What have you sort of in between, like Walsham and Stanton? What have you sort of filled your time with in terms of football? Have you been taking a lot of games in, or have you literally stepped away from it and you're going in completely fresh?
I basically, you know, my daughter's 16 and she's playing with Cambridge City Ladies this year. I basically got behind her, really. I thought I'm going to be a dad for a bit, you know what I mean, and get back to supporting her, because she played for me at Walsham on the 16s in the boys' side. And I felt that, you know, I'm just going to just be a dad and relax and enjoy what's going on, take notice of what's happening on media and what teams are doing what, and free pre-seasons. But I don't know, it was, I just thought I played a bit of golf in between, you know, and just caught up with some old friends as well at games, you know. I might go watch a game and speak to like dads, coaches, or mums, whatever, you know, just see what's going on, really.
Yeah, gives you a chance to reboot a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, recharge a bit, I suppose.
Yeah. And so now you've sort of had enough of your daughter getting in your ear, you thought you'd get back out again on Saturday afternoon.
I can't stand her music on the way to the game, to be fair. I've actually started making her wear headphones on the way to the game.
Absolutely brilliant. If you guys have got any questions you want to ask for Fergus, put them into the comment section. We'll get them all up on here. You guys have been answering about who's got the best beard on here. It's quite unanimous. Fergus, distinguished. Fergus. You're getting so much love in the chat, mate. You're getting absolutely
match day marketing, top company.
Yeah, they are. They really are, I have to admit. Dean Cooper says absolute legend. Great question, apparently, from me. Exactly what I was wondering. Addy said sideward step, not a drop. Would you? I mean, I asked the question that someone posed to me in terms of a drop. I don't personally consider a drop, because I think that when you watch the Senior Cup, you only need to find out who's always in the semi-finals and who's in the final. It's always an SIL team that coming up against a furlough none. The SIL is a good level of football. I don't see it as a drop, but some people do. That's why I posed the question. But do you kind of see the SIL? There's a lot of good quality down in the SIL. There's a lot of quality, isn't there?
Well, a lot of players drop out of Thurles None to go back to the SIL because they want game time. But I'd say that's just an excuse. I'd say they just want to play good football every week, you know. And I think as well, you know, with all these kind of Thurles None Prems and that, you've got players from every area in you. They're not local boys or local villages or local towns. So obviously with the COVID as well, you don't have the social side after the games, and it's a lot harder to get that togetherness together, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're 2-0 down and there's 10 minutes left and you want to try and win a game or get a goal for some pride. You know, being a local side and being, you know, buddies or friends or mates or whatever, you dig it a bit deeper, you know.
I think football's definitely lost that edge, though, hasn't it? And I suppose you're coming back into it. But it is a completely different game to the one that you left. Almost. And that social aspect, I think, at non-league is so important. Yeah. That's what grows communities. That's what separates our game from the pretty TV game that we get told is the only way football should be. So it's really difficult to keep that alive. And do you think sort of a lot more local football can do that a bit better than what fellow non-prem can?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, like a lot of the good players start at that level, don't they? You know, and then they move up, they get spotted. You know, I think there's one playing for Walsham at the moment who was at maybe Bracton or Hawley. So, you know, like players do get looked at in that level. So, and listen, at the end of the day, it shouldn't, you know, you should never be asked to give it 100% on a Saturday or a Sunday. That should be a given. You know what I mean? Like with Dean there, he struggled with some players, whatever, and I struggled with some players at Walsham or Rovers. You know, it's not a personal thing. It's about me developing as a manager, you developing as a player, and me having success together.
Yeah.
You know, I can relate to some of Dean's things there. When I'd go home last year, when I started really well at Walsham, then we lost a few. you're bringing it home. You do bring it home. Like the boys will go to town on a Saturday night, have a great night, play Sunday. I'll be at home, have a few beers at home, or I'll go Saturday watch the door. Or it's still ticking away. What could I have done? What could I have done? So it is draining. Even though it's a part-time voluntary role, it takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, definitely. Ben Moore's put onto here, as a young coach, it's all about developing yourself as a coach and your players, no matter what level you start at. Always have a goal to strive towards. Dan Snell has put, fair play, Fergus. A lot of people, once they've worked at a certain level, don't consider any jobs lower than that level. I suppose for you, it was more about the enjoyment of the game rather than necessarily looking at what level a club is at.
I felt I had a tough season. I kind of came into Rovers pre-season, and then I came into Walsham when they're going through a tough time. And for whatever reasons didn't work out. And I wouldn't say it was a failure. I'd say I'd put it down to my learning or my education of how to do things better in the future. Everyone gets a chance at it, and you have to take it. That's progression, in it. But there's certain things that I probably might do at Stanton last Saturday or in the week of training, just different ways to approach things again. You see coaches warming up, or you see them doing something on media, or you see them doing something there. Maybe if I'd done that, that would have helped me. So then you go in with a different approach,
Yeah, definitely. Dean's put up on here, if you are a player at Stanton now, be excited, as you have the opportunity now to learn so much from an experienced man. Nigel Wallace has put, Fergus is well respected already at Stanton for his knowledge, attitude and friendliness to all. Ben's posed a question on here. Any advice that you would give a young coach like myself? I'm currently coaching at Selham Town Rangers under 12s. I'm looking to develop myself. Any tips would be great. I suppose Ben's question, what kind of advice?
I would say it depends there. I would say I'd speak to the senior section and ask if he could shadow the coaches at the higher, at the top level.
Good shout.
So if he could go there on a Saturday, or if he could watch training, that coach, if he feels Ben is at a good standard, whatever level Ben may be, he might say, "Do you want to take the warm up?" And it's just a case of integrating a younger coach at the club into the senior section. It's something that, like, I know Stanton are very keen on the management there, is to bring the 18s in. I think we had maybe 3 18s on Saturday, who weren't involved the week before, but we put them in due to injuries and that. And it may be only 10 minutes, but it's very important for them to get to know us and the senior players. And the senior players were spot on, to be fair.
Yeah. Do you think that with COVID, that's even more important to now expose younger players to men's football earlier, to give you that enhanced squad size and the more confidence that you can rotate with everyone understanding what's expected?
I think it's very important that young players are brought in early, so they, I tried to bring a little bit of structure this week, and I think I feel it was apparent in the game anyway that cause some of the lads in our feedback afterwards when we spoke felt refreshed in how we did the warm up and how we did something else, and it's just recycling, in it. It's you've got the same players, same setup. It's just a case of keeping it fresh, So in relation to the under 18s, it's very important that they feel comfortable, because it's intimidating, isn't it? There's a big difference on an under 16s, 17s, or 18s dressing room. Or the first team dressing room.
I remember the first time getting absolutely whacked by. I'm
not even going back to when I was a player. Never.
You don't forget that. You do not forget that. It's brilliant.
The conversation levels are a different level as well.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful. Like that's the funny thing about the WhatsApp groups with all the younger lads, and that you have to be really careful these days.
So you were involved in the game on Saturday. We'll talk about the result, obviously in a bit when we get to the SIL show. But what did you make of it? Your first game there, overall. I actually went over to Bacton to watch them last Saturday. Did you? Okay.
And they lost, and it was really, what really gave me kind of a refresh feeling was, 92 minutes, and I think they were 3-0 down or 3-1 down or something. And they didn't quit. Now, I know no player likes to quit, but at certain levels, some people think, oh, I'll take my 25 quid and we'll go again next week. You know what I'm saying? Where it means a little bit more to the lower player, I think. I feel like there's a bit more determination and a never give up attitude.
Yeah. So what have you? What did you make of the performance on Saturday? Obviously, you got the win. We'll talk again. We'll, the result we'll go for in a bit. But obviously, with the win, what did you make of it?
I thought they played really well. We controlled big parts of the game, and what was great was we really fought for a clean sheet as a collective. That was really good, really. And you know what? We didn't even give much feedback after the game. It was just their excitement over the W, really. It was great.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. So I suppose kind of moving on for the rest of the season now, obviously we're in a difficult situation where we are literally just taking everything week by week at the moment because we don't know how much of this we've got left, and with the situation that games get called off left, right, centre at the moment. What are you kind of talking about in terms of aims for the season? Have you had that kind of conversation about where you're wanting to go, and for yourself personally, what are you hoping to gain from this season?
I think my own targets in relation, say, towards players, I'd like to educate some players, and I can see some players that haven't probably had high levels of training, in the detail. Yeah. So, for example, on Saturday, I like disguising running with the ball and that. And then in the warm-up, there was 18-year-olds and they were saying, oh, my calves are burning. And all it is repetition. Yeah. Repetition of technical stuff, small distances, because football is over small distances. And I thought to myself, you haven't done a whole pile the whole week. I know people work and whatever, but this particular lad has worked on my sites before, and I'm thinking to myself, I know you. You don't, you're lazy. It's laziness. It's personal fitness. It's personal fitness. So I think for me, like on Saturday, I brought in a lot of structure. I set up a couple of like formations, what I wanted to see, and I think they felt that they played the game different, like things like balance and out of possession and things like that. And I'm not trying to put roses or anything up or riding lights. I just trying to give boys some details. So if they are good enough, they can push on with a bit more info.
Yeah. And as I said, for the conversation around the club, has that not really been talked about, or is it just something again where we're just, because we are playing week to week, it's not really an overall picture or what has been said, if you can reveal anything?
It's very hard at the moment because they don't actually know if the games are going to be on or off, or it's going to be 20-game season. It's really hard. So, like I said on Saturday, it's really hard when you don't have the dressing room. You're really fighting to keep that unit feeling. You go do your warm up, you come back in. You ain't got radios or nothing like that for, some lads like to, close down and concentrate themselves or whatever. And focus. So it's just week by week, really,
Right.
I think a big factor for everyone is after the game. There's not much social possibility, is there, of standing in groups of 7 or 8 or, 10 at the bar, or, it's all quite restricted in it.
Yeah. Is that something you think that is going to be a struggle for a lot of clubs? Because again, kind of, most people don't really see that side of the game.
It's revenue, in it. It's revenue. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think the revenue is scaring a lot of clubs, really. Unless you've got big sponsors, or you still have to like pay the local council, or you still have to, if you're renting pitches or dressing rooms, that doesn't stop, does it? Really?
It's balanced as well, I think, Ferg, like non-league. So if you've got a bigger sponsor, you tend to have bigger outlays, because in the past clubs have spent to their income. And those sponsors that have come in, or the cup money that they've won, has managed to make them afford a different, to pay a player a little bit extra to keep them, or something like that. I think that there's a completely different ball game this season because that money that comes in is flotation, essentially, potentially.
Well, I mean, the grants that people have been receiving from the FA and that have been really needed, really.
Yeah. And you mentioned about the facilities that have just come on board again. I mean, how big of a that must be absolutely invaluable for a club like Stanton for what's been granted.
I mean, if you look at, they've got a team down the next village who are doing really well at the moment. Got all the facilities there. That has to be a name for Stanton, with new housing developments going on there. And they're not a million miles from Bury. So, there's opportunity if they do go forward to rent it out. 4Gs are like gold dust at the moment. And it can only be a forward step, I think. You've got Thurston College over the road. So, I mean, I think it'll be great. I mean, they've just had new lights added in there now, and it's taken, I think 2,000 emails before they were finally, and 55 years. But you know what? It's a start, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a starting point. So I think if I can bring a little excitement in, and a little bit of knowledge and help them, and there's no drama, I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't see it as a drop, to be fair.
No, 100%. Well, it's been absolutely been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I think if the comment section is anything to go by, and just for the conversation that we've had, entertainment and knowledge is coming in abundance for Stanton. They're very lucky to have you. So I wish you all the best of luck for the season. Good luck. As I said, I hope things go well for you.
Try and get over there at some point, won't we, to take one in?
Yeah, I might get you a Brandon tomorrow night, Dad.
Yeah, we'll see what we're doing.
Yeah, I'll buy you a beer.
Cheers, Fergus. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers,
Take
mate.
care. Cheers.
Cheers,
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Good insight there, Adam.
I think so, yeah.
In terms of joining at that level, as I said, a lot of people may or may not have been surprised at that, but it's good to see where coaches are now coming from about what their priorities are now moving forward into the season.
Yeah, like the big focus with Bergswell saying no drama, some personal goals of upskilling some players and stuff. He can still achieve what he wants.
Yeah,
that's where you've got to look at it as not a step backwards just because the league has got a different number and name attached to it.
Yeah,
it's a step in a different direction to still let him achieve his goals whilst being comfortable within it. And family is obviously still so important.
Yeah, definitely.
Really enjoyed doing that. It was really good.
Yeah, definitely. Dean has also said on there, quality listen. Cheers. Really appreciate that. It was all down to Fergus, so let's face it, he's easy entertainment there, weren't he? Let's face it. So, Adam, we are at the 53-minute mark. What I'm going to do now is we're going to get involved in the Super Six, and then we will then move on to the results and the fixtures for the upcoming week. First of all, Adam, let's talk about last week's Super Six. Not my finest work, but here is the current league table.
I think you got 2 points, mate.
Talk to us about some of the big movers, what's kind of happened this week.
I shall load my spreadsheet. This week, well, people at the top of the table got all sorts of different points, so it's just made everything very, very compact.
Right.
So I think this next week, if people can score points, we're going to see a big shift.
Yeah. Potentially
following on. What he seems to be hanging in there with just averaging out every single week. but this week he did score below. The average this week worked out to be about 4, and he picked up 3. Spreads hit a 5. Tommy Smith's at it again with a 6.
Nice.
I don't think I saw anything higher than a 6. I did say to you, though, didn't I, that I felt like this week's fixtures were possibly the hardest that we put out.
Yeah.
So far. There was only a couple of 6s. One was our very own Alex. He hit a big 6. Tommy, and I think there may have been one more. A couple of 5s, several 4s, and some 3s. Right. So it was an interesting week all round. I think I got 3 points, you got 2, but generally because everyone's evened out, the top positions didn't really change.
I only got 2 points last week.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
See, it's from someone that knows all about non-league, mate.
All right, calm down.
and it was your week last week because you made it SIL heavy.
Well, I did.
So you've really, really messed that up.
Okay. All right, don't rub it in. So we've got. Let's have a look. The top 5. So we've got Ben, Alex, Tommy, Spreads, and Sean. The top 3 are slowly breaking away. And then there's a whole cluster of people in and amongst the kind of chasing pack. I'd like to consider myself as part of that chasing pack, even though I am on 18 points on there. We've just had a very good point, actually. Shouldn't I be 21st? Because we've got 2 20s on there. That's a very good point.
Have I messed up? Has someone noticed that I can't count with numbers?
Guess who? Guess who spotted it?
Is it Vinny?
Yeah, of course it is.
I've got to redo this entire list now next week.
Yeah,
anyone that's after 20 is actually one worse off than they think they are.
Yeah. Right. So I'm in 21st place. I'm still aiming for a top 10. That's still my aim for this season. I need to get my act together with this week. We've got on here. What was it? I'm 2 ahead of you now, mate. Absolutely love it from that. Daniel Barnard, I told you I can't have a noisy neighbour. We've had Alex say that he's happy with his results. Whereabouts is Alex? He's jumped above me and you.
Right up, yeah.
So what did he get last week?
He got 6. He was joint top scorer.
Wow, fair play, mate. Fair play.
We all did considerably better this week than we had done the week before. Like the week before was absolutely woeful.
Yeah.
So there's some good averaging. It's getting to the point though now where like the top 40 are playing virtually every single week.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple of exceptions to that. James Bloomfield forgets every other week, but still manages to get his name on the board.
We chat to him all the time. How can he forget that?
No idea. No idea whatsoever. But it's just meaning that other people at Witten can just pull away from him. Like Shane's keeping up the pressure, like on those top spots. He's done quite well in the last few weeks.
Definitely. Now, this week's Super Six, Adam, you were quite impressed with some of these fixtures that I've pulled up.
I think people will like this group of fixtures, and I think they will have more fun. I think there's going to be more higher scores next week. Okay,
so this is the Super Six for this week. I'm now going to post the link in the comments for everybody. It should now be coming up on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. If you want to get involved, we will post this link out throughout the rest of the week as well. But the fixtures are Haverhill Borough versus Copplestonians and Henley versus Cornard United, 2 Suffolk Senior Cup games, which I thought was important to get 2 in because it's SIL versus Furlough None. Let's just see if the SIL sides can produce a upset in inverted commas. We've got AFC Sudbury versus Whittam Town in the Isthmian North. Wroxham versus Gob Manchester Rovers in the Furlough None Prem. I think a lot of people will be going for Wroxham as a win on that one, but I suppose for a lot of people, they will be eyeing this one as, can they get multiple points? Can they get 3 points for getting the right scoreline?
Yeah.
We've got Bourneville versus Ransoms, which I think is probably one of the tougher games to call on paper. And then we've got Tattingstone versus Sporting 87 in SIL Div 1.
Written all over it, that game, I think.
Sorry? It's got...
Draw written all over it.
Draw sitting on the fence, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, fair play. If that's what you're going to predict, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. So yeah, those are the fixtures. As I said, link for the Super Six is available on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We will post this out afterwards and throughout the week, and your regular Saturday reminder as well. Get your predictions in. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say. And again, if you want to get involved, and get yourself up on the leaderboard, you know what to do.
Numbers by next week.
Sorry?
Which will have the correct numbers by next week.
Yes, which will have the correct numbers. Alex has already done it. That is commitment. Look at him straight in. Did you not want to give yourself some time to think about it, Alex, and just
Honestly, for like coming first on the submission, Alex would be top of the table.
would he?
He's often top.
Brilliant stuff. Tatty versus Sporting will be a tight game. I had to put a couple of competitive games in there.
There'll be a 3-2 if Tatty edge it, I reckon. There'll be goals in that game.
There will be 100%. Think Henley will beat Cornards. There you go, Ross. Get your predictions in, mate. Get your predictions in. Hopefully, jump another 7 places. Depends on. Depends how Adam's number 7. Sorry.
I'll buy a calculator.
Oh, that's it. There we go. Some shade going in. What like they have done the past 2 weeks. I'm guessing you're referring to Tangstone.
We'll come on to that. Let's not address that too early.
Right. Adam, Alex has put in our private chat. What about the weekly winner? What happened to that?
The weekly winner. What happened to that is I've changed my job, if I'm honest, and haven't had time to sort stuff out. The weekly winner, we do need to do it. But as a show announcement this week, I need to put it up afterwards, don't I? Do it on a Sunday, but it's once again. I don't know how many times he's going to win it. It is Tommy Smith, and it's Alex, which is probably why he's particularly keen for us to get his name in lights. That's an idea I do need to run with, because we do need a weekly winner just for a bit of recognition every week.
Yeah, as Adam said, he has changed his job this week, so I will give you the benefit of the doubt this week. I will give you a pass.
Cheers,
next week though, back on it.
Good man. Up till 2 a.m. yesterday, actually putting this together and still getting it wrong.
Welcome to my world, mate. That's all I'm going to say. Welcome to my world with the graphics, because the fixtures change all the time. Do you know what I mean? So,
with a hot water bottle, a blanket, and a cup of cocoa by 9 most weeks, mate.
Behave yourself. Right, let's get into the fixtures and the results from the weekend, from last week rather, and for the week moving forward, because there has been a lot of very, very interesting results. First of all, we're gonna go through the FA Cup qualifying 4th round results. Unfortunately, we saw both of our local teams in Leiston and Bury Town being knocked out. I know both teams were absolutely gutted, especially from a Leiston perspective. I think the goal the Barner scored was very late on in the game, wasn't it?
Referee controversy in that game.
Oh, really?
Big referee controversy.
Right, interesting. And we've had also obviously Bury Town losing out to Banbury United. I know they were gutted on social media. I think they really gave it a good go in that game, as we expected them to do so. And Kings Lynn progressed to the first round after their game was cancelled.
I thought the C stood for COVID.
Sorry?
I thought the C stood for COVID. Like postponed, we're using a C for COVID cancellation.
Well, yeah, actually, I could. We might as well put C for COVID. Let's face it, we're going to have plenty more of this as the weeks go on. So yeah. The FA Trophy third qualifying round is this weekend. Let's just bring some of those fixtures up. So we've got Felixstowe versus Met Police, Leiston versus Worthing, Lowestoft versus Lewis, and Needham versus Three Bridges. So all 4 of our local sides are at home. So it'll be very interesting to see who can progress to the next round of the FA Trophy. In the Southern League, Premier Central, no result from our local teams during the week, but the weekend did see Needham winning 2-1 away at Avil Church. Lowestoft, unfortunately, lost to Stratford Town 3-2. And Leiston were involved, obviously, in the FA Cup tie. So this is the league table. We've got Needham still in second place, unbeaten, unbelievable start to the season with 17 points, on the same as Colville Town. Lowestoft are in 11th, and Leiston still sitting bottom of the table. Fixtures for the upcoming week. There is no weekend action. We've only got midweek games for the division. Leiston are away at St Ives, and that is the only fixture for our local teams. So we will move on from the Southern League. Again, we said it before, we said we'll continue with it. We just want to see Leyton getting off to a winning start. We need them to get some points on the board as quickly as possible. Moving on to the Isthmian North now. Again, the only kind of ties that we were hoping to get from the midweek were postponed. We had the Bury Town versus Sudbury game, which was postponed, and Felixstowe's away game at Cambridge City was also called off. Again, from this weekend's action, obviously the Bury game was postponed due to them having the FA Cup tie. Felixstowe picking up a 2-0 victory against Holbridge Sports, and AFC Sudbury 2-2 against Brentwood Town. Some other interesting results in there. Durham and Cockleshall getting a 1-1 draw.
Felixstowe getting both their goals late again. Something to note for people that follow the results closely. They've been at it all season long, and the first goal came in the 82nd minute, second in the 90th, I believe. Absolute madness from them. Compare what they've got on the board now with what happened last season for them.
Yeah.
Something's changed.
Yeah. The mentality's changed at Felixstowe, hasn't it? Both from last season. So Felixstowe find themselves in 7th place. Bury, who have still, I mean, look at that, 2 games, 2 games in the league, but still sitting there in mid-table, and Sudbury just above the relegation zone with 5 points from 5 games. We've got some midweek action for you from the division. So Bury are against Felixstowe. I really wanted to go to this game, but unfortunately it's sold out unbelievably quick. I didn't even have a chance to
Bury sell out every single week, aren't they?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. If anyone can hook us up with media tickets.
Yeah, if anybody from Bury Town is listening to this and wants to get me and Adam into that game, we would massively appreciate it. Hit me up on Twitter. Contact me after the show. That's all I'm going to say. If you can make it happen, make it happen. I think that is, I can't see Sudbury. Oh, no, they are away from home against Soham Town Rangers midweek. And then Saturday's fixtures, AFC Sudbury versus Whittam Town. And Bury Town are at home against Romford as well. No game for Felixstowe because I believe they are involved in cup action, which I mentioned earlier on. Yes, they are in the FA Trophy. Right, furlough none action this time. This is where the chat starts. Going off because most of our fans of the show are furlough none and SIL contingent. So our premier results from midweek: we had Bramford 1-1 against Woodbridge Town, Ely 2, God Manchester 1, Mildenhall 5-1 victory against Thetford Town, and Newmarket against Haverhill was a 1-0 win for the home side. Adam, Thetford Town, another disappointing defeat again. What fixture stood out for you? Was it the Thetford one?
Pretty much, to be honest. Thetford had come off the back of a win and a big week for the club. We were only talking about it last week, and then Mildenhall, who are in different form so far this season, absolutely dismantled them, and starting to raise questions as to where the quality is going to come from Thetford to put a run together. For me, that sounds really harsh, but it's time's ticking on now.
Yeah, no, that's a fair comment. A fair comment to make. Fergus, I'm just going to get you in on this one, Fergus, if that's all right, because you put a comment in our chat on there. You said that you were at the Ely game. What did you make of it from a neutral's perspective watching that match?
Well, Ely are kind of performing very well at the moment under new management. And Gotti went there probably as favourites, but Gotti had a man sent off after probably 1 minute, 2 minutes. And then the game just went in, like, they scored and Gotti just came at him. You'd swear Gotti had 11 men against Ely, and they were very resolute in defending. One of the coaches there, Ben Farmer, is probably one of his specialities, defending, and you can see he's got his message across to the side. They're quite resolute. So, I think anyone thinking of going Ely for an Ely game, easy game, will be surprised this year.
And to be honest, in previous seasons, Ely have looked anything but resolute, haven't they? At times. Changed that.
You'd always fancy when you go there, you might get something, but fair play to the management there. When they came in, heads turned, because they've had great runs in the past in the FA Cups and that, and bars and that. So fair play to them.
Yeah, definitely. The weekend's action, we had Ely then getting another victory, this time 2-0 at home against Haverhill Rovers. God Manchester 1, Brantham 2. The match I was at, which is the match day experience. If you guys haven't seen the highlights of that, please check out the channel after the live stream finishes to go and watch the highlights of that, which was Hadley 0, Norwich United 3, Mildenhall 2-2 against Stowmarket, Stanway 0, Golston 1, Swaffham 3, Newmarket 2, Thetford 0, Long Milford 2, Witton 2, Walsham and Willows 4, and Woodbridge versus Kirkley and Payfield was a 2-0 victory to Woodbridge. I just want to show you guys, if you haven't seen this goal, this is an absolutely special goal. This was from the Woodbridge game from the weekend. I apologise if the volume is a little bit loud. Turn your volumes down for the next few moments, but just enjoy this strike. I'm just courtesy of the guys over at Woodpecker TV. That is an unbelievable strike.
Absolute top bins from about 15 yards away from the halfway line. It's ridiculous.
You can cancel goal of the season this year. You just don't need to bother having it. There's no point. That's going to win.
So it's unbelievable. Such a hit.
Yeah, definitely.
Such a hit.
Adam, what's your standout result from this weekend's fixtures? I'm going to talk about the Norwich United game in a moment, very briefly, just give my kind of thoughts on both teams. But looking at it, what's your standout fixture?
Just a quick couple of mentions. Galston, they've kept another clean sheet. That's 2 in fairly quick succession after conceding goals for fun. Christy Finch scored on his debut for them, and they've gone away against a Stanway who have been quite free scoring.
Yeah,
in the league. Like that's actually that's a bigger result than it looks.
Yeah,
but Swaffham, I want to draw attention to.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I want to draw more attention to Newmarket in that scoreline.
Right.
Newmarket can't cobble anything together at the moment. No form of a run is happening for them. Like they just need to. It's not that they need to get a win. They need to put a couple of points scoring. They just need to achieve a few points in a row. I genuinely would have told you that I would have thought Newmarket would have been a comfortable top 4 team. I don't think they'll do top 6 now. I think they've thrown too much away too early.
Really?
I know it's early, but I'm not quite sure what's going on there. They've got good players as well, really good players, and Chinny's obviously really well respected locally in the game as well. So I just want that to pull itself together at Newmarket because I expected so much more.
Yeah. Sorry, Fergus. I think I can try and. I think you're trying to say something on that. I don't know if I can quite hear you or not. But what do you want to say? Can you hear him, Adam, at all? Or am I? No. Okay, we'll try and get Fergus in a few moments just to kind of give his thoughts whilst we're sorting that out. The Hadley versus Norwich game. Obviously, it was the one I went to, so I'll briefly talk about it. I still don't. I don't know what Hadley, in terms of the way they were playing. I tried to analyse their formation, the style. I still can't quite figure it out. I needed you there next to me, Adam, to be able to kind of be able to give me like a second thought and opinion. It was
4-3-3.
Sorry?
It was probably a 4-3-3.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if it was. I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't quite make it out. But they had a very unique way of playing. They did have quite a few injuries from that game, which we talked about in the interview afterwards. But Norwich United, first half weren't really at it. Second half, massive improvement. They got their 3 goals very, very quickly, and did what needed to be done. And you can see why they are top of the table at the moment. They were very, very impressive. They took control of the game at the point when they needed to, and they didn't give Hadley any chance in that second half to build any sort of momentum. And I don't really remember the Norwich keeper being tested a huge amount in that second half. So,
no, innit? As a team, to look back on the game, you didn't put yourself in a situation where your keeper was tested.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Woodbridge as well for their victory, because that's a very important win for them. Long Melford as well. That's a 6-pointer at the bottom of the league.
It is, but Thetford, that just drowns them in misery, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Starting to pick up the points.
Fergus, we'll try and bring you in again. What did you want to say on that?
I was. Can you hear me now, boys?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, great. I was just going to say, it's such an unpredictable league, isn't it? You can have someone playing really well, and then you think, oh, that's they're going to win again. They're in good form, and then all of a sudden it's a 2-0 get away, and it's like, how has that happened?
Yeah. It is a very, very unpredictable league. This is the current league table after the round of fixtures during midweek and on the weekend. So Norwich United extending their lead. Obviously, they've got 3 games in hand over Wroxham, whose games seem to be called off all the time at the moment. They're on 26 points, still unbeaten. So very, very impressed, as I said, from what I saw. Adam, any clubs that we're now starting to get a bit concerned about, or maybe teams that are not doing as well? I'm looking at Witton. Another defeat for Witton this weekend.
We've got Ferg on the call, so it's hard to say, but Haverhill are struggling fairly persistently.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be getting too much better. I think Clacton have barely played any games because of the issues with COVID. Quite a balanced sheet so far in terms of what they've done. It's all going to depend on manager recruitment and what happens for them.
Yeah.
Don't forget they're not going to be in this league next season.
Yeah.
But Swaffham have now put a few results together in quick succession, and they've gone from being in the absolute mire to being just above them, just on the value of they've played 10 games. It's a really weird league at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, from your perspective, Fergus, is it one of those situations where, because some teams have played so many games fewer than the others, it's really hard to kind of make out who is maybe falling behind and who's maybe doing well and who's maybe not doing so well?
Yeah, I've spoken to some managers, and they've really kind of had inconsistency with pre-season preparation. Has someone got COVID or not? Isolation and all this kind of stuff. There's lots going on this year, lads. Lots going on.
Yeah, definitely. Dan has put on here as well. Clacton finally back in action this weekend after COVID on there.
It's been a long time that they've been unable to play for. Long time.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at some of the fixtures. Connor said tomorrow this cancel, was really looking forward to a very decent match. Obviously, he's referring to the Stowe game, which we haven't had a chance to update the graphic on here, but Stowmarket versus Walsham with Willows, for all of those who don't know, their game has been postponed. Adam, I believe it is down to a Stowmarket player.
A Stowe player is tested positive for COVID. The whole squad needs to be tested, so that game can't go ahead.
Right.
Anyone that's bought a ticket, I do know from the club that ticket will be valid for the rearranged fixture. I don't know if that's helpful there's a piece of information on this show, but it's just worth putting out there.
Yeah, definitely. We've had we've got Haverhill versus Mildenhall, Bramford versus Witton, Wroxham versus Swaffham, which Swaffham's recent form now makes that quite a tasty game on paper. Definitely. And Long Melford against Hadley United. Leon has put 4 points in 5 days from difficult opposition, has certainly helped us. That's from a Woodbridge perspective. It's really good to see you guys turning that around at Woodbridge. Shane has put COVID playing a major factor to player availability. Again, it goes back to what you said, Fergus. It's difficult when you don't even know. From even standard times before COVID, it was always difficult to know who was going to be here from 1 week to the next. From that perspective, it must make things 10 times harder now.
Yeah, I think training, everything's affected. Everyone's lives is upside down. There's a lot going on in people's minds. Earlier, we were on about the mental side of the game. Lots to think about, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Apologies for anybody who can hear some sort of humming in the audio. We're going to try and figure that out whilst we're going through some of these fixtures. The weekend's action from the Furlough Nuns, we've got Kirkley and Payfield versus Stowmarket, which again, obviously, we don't know whether or not that fixture is now going to be going.
Unlikely, I think.
I highly think it's going to be unlikely as well, to be honest. Newmarket versus Ely, Swaffham versus Woodbridge, Thetford versus Bramford Athletic, and Wroxham versus God Manchester Rovers. Stand out from that, Adam?
There's some good ones in there.
Yeah.
Newmarket Ely's a derby.
Yeah.
Swaffham Woodbridge, there's quite a lot at stake in that. If Woodbridge can get points again, as Leon will attest to, getting 4 points in 5 days, that's massive.
Yeah.
But for me, Wroxham, Goddy, can someone break Wroxham's winning run? I don't think it's going to be Goddy that will be able to do it, to be honest. So it's just a case of how many will they extend the goal difference by, to be honest, with how Goddy have played lately. I fear for Goddy going there at the minute on the form they're on.
Yeah, definitely. It's not far to say that's not a wrong shout. Furlough None, First Division North. Now we've got results from midweek. So we've got Fakenham 3, Downham 2, Framlingham 2, Diss 4, Norwich and Mulbarton playing out a 0-0 draw. Sheringham 6-1 victory against Great Yarmouth, and the Lakenheath AFC Sudbury game was postponed. Adam, you're sort of shaking your head. What are you shaking your head about?
Yarmouth losing 6-1 to Sheringham.
Didn't see that coming?
No, I didn't. CBS have now got a striker that's good enough for about 3 leagues above, and they can't score goals. And Framlingham have gone from smashing goals for fun to losing to Diss.
Crazy set of results there.
Absolute madness.
Yeah, love it. Fergus, what are you thinking looking at those results?
Unpredictable. I still say, you look at Sheringham, they beat Newmarket. Teams are unpredictable. It depends what team is selected and got consistency in their side, I believe. You look at some teams there, they got high turnover players, they can't find it. So,
yeah.
Surprised at the Framlingham one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Huge shock for me. And that's nothing against Diss, but Diss haven't performed so far, and Framlingham looked like they turned a real corner, and then that happened. Yeah. Especially at home as well. It just completely against the odds.
Yeah, definitely. The weekend's action, we had Great Yarmouth then picking up another defeat, this time at home against Leiston Reserves. Cornard United 0, Downham 2, Debenham 0, Mulbarton 4, Diss 0, Marchtown 2, Framlingham and Norwich CBS. There you go, Adam. There's your goals for you from Norwich. 3-3 draw away against Framlingham. Haverhill Borough 0, Fakenham 2, Ipswich 4-0 against Wisbech St Mary. Maybe others expected that to be a bit higher, but the 4 goals went in. Kings Lynn Reserves 5-2 against Sheringham. So Sheringham going from winning 6-1 during the week to losing 5-2 on the weekend. Absolutely incredible. And Newmarket 2, Lakenheath 1. That's a shock result, surely. Needham Markets Reserves beating Lakenheath.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, look at the performance of all of the reserve teams this year. Like, compared to how things were a couple of years back, the reserve teams in this league, people were actually calling when we did our show previous. We were being told, like, why don't they just remove those teams? They're a waste of time being in there. They're not good enough. This year, the reserve teams are pulling out and competing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
They're making the league more competitive.
Yeah.
There's only one team in here that are struggling. And I genuinely, I know Ipswich Wanderers are disappointed. You win 4-0 and I know they're disappointed. I said beforehand, it's very much a 4-pointer. Who can score the most goals against Wisbech for those top teams? That will make the difference on the goal difference.
What do you make of the comment here saying surely Wanderers will be disappointed? Would you say that's right?
Yeah. I bet they went into that game wanting to score 10.
Love it. Dan saying about Leighton Reserves have surprised and impressed so far this season, and Bucks is following that up saying Leighton Reserves are a very, very strong team. Fergus, maybe you're the best person to kind of answer this question. Why do you think the reserves have, from Kings Lynn to Needham, to Leiston. Why do you think all three of them are now performing well in the league? What is there anything you could maybe put your finger on as to why all three have suddenly turned their form around this year?
It's probably having competitive players competitive for places, really. Structure in the club. Plus, if the first team are doing really well, there's a vibe goes through the club. The younger boys want to get in the side. You know what I mean? So, as a group, they're probably training together, so they're sharper. It tends to be that they want to keep everyone in the picture. That's how they move forward, really, and get strong.
Yeah. Bugs is saying, yes, we were disappointed. Honesty, I like it. Connor, just
goodness,
Connor.
I just realised what he meant by
Oh dear, Connor. Oh dear. Jack Owen, Leiston are always a tough game. Need them comfortable at home on the 4G. Don't shy away from a battle. Tony has put, will be good to see how the Furlough None sides do against the SIL in the Senior Cup this weekend. We're going to get into that in a few moments, mate. Trust me, we really are. Then let's have a look at the league table. Fakenham top, Ipswich behind them with one game less, 3 points behind. March, again, 1 game played less than Fakenham with 4 points behind. Leiston reserves in fourth place, which is absolutely superb to see. 6 victories from 9 games is a very, very, very impressive return.
Some people managing that in the whole season, some of them reserve teams.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Very, very true. And then a whole cluster of teams kind of chasing that pack behind. And then, again, a bit of a drop-off when you start going towards the bottom half of the table. We're not going to talk too much about Wisbech St Mary this week. Adam, who's kind of impressed you? Who needs to do better? Let's have a bit of a conversation around that.
If you look at the players they've got, Norwich CBS now need to get results.
Yeah,
they cannot carry that squad and not get wins.
It's a lot of draws.
But they've played 9 games and got 5 draws out of it. That's not going to be enough to get them anywhere near where they would have wanted to be. Mulbarton, I thought, would probably have converted some of their draws to wins as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I probably would have placed them a little bit higher, but Fakenham just are not going away. And March are proving to be just as much of a handful as what Wanderers are, but they just haven't got the spotlight on them quite as much because of the player recruitment again. But there's a few teams that I think will again shift about a bit as we sort of approach 10 games. You could see this move quite a bit. I mean, Kings Lynn reserves are on 8 games, 12 points. Like Lake and Heath are 7 games, 15 points. There isn't much. As things start to equal, you'll start to get those gaps start to appear a little bit.
Do you agree with that, Fergus?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as the season goes on, the quality will show, and there'll be high points difference between teams from mid-table to top, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's where this will go, this league. I think you'll get a real breakaway group of 6 or 7 teams.
Yeah.
And then a big points difference.
Yeah, definitely. Let's bring up then the fixtures for the upcoming week. There's only one during the week, which is March Town versus Haverhill Borough. I think most people will have that probably down as a March victory.
I don't know what makes you think that, James.
What makes me think that?
Haverhill are scrapping for points, aren't they?
Yeah. It's not.
I think Lakeney took Haverhill Borough striker last year, didn't they? Or in the pre-season, Tom Turbon.
Right.
And I think that's been a big factor in Guy's team, that there's not that 10, 15 goals, which can be important, getting your head up in a game and getting the lead.
Do you know what they like? Haverhill Borough, for the league they're in, the facilities they've got are phenomenal, aren't they?
Definitely.
And
it's all there. It's an underachieving club, really, both sides, really.
That's exactly where I was leading to. Like, you look where they are now and you just think that they could do that bit more.
I do believe there's another 3G being built there as well. One of the new kind of, the up and coming ones with the different surface. It's all there. It's all there.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then the weekend's action, we've got Downham versus Great Yarmouth. We've got Lakenheath versus Kingsley Town Reserves, which that is
Good game.
What a game. What a game that could be. Sheringham versus Leiston Reserves, which again looks on paper to be a very good game. Wisbech versus Dis Town wraps up the weekend's action. So looking forward to seeing what some of those results will be, especially that Lakenheath Kings Lynn game. That looks to be a very, very good game on paper. Alex, I'm going to bring you into the chat, my friend, because we're now going to be getting in the SIL part of the show. But before we jump into SIL, we have got some Suffolk Senior Cup, which is very, very exciting to be able to go through. This is a part that everybody loves. Everybody loves the Suffolk Senior Cup. So the weekend's action, we've got Achilles versus Framlingham Town, Bilderton versus Capel Plough, Debenham versus East Bergholt, Hawley versus Crane Sports, Haverhill Borough versus Copplestonians, Henley versus Cornard United, Leiston St Margaret's versus Westerfield United, Old Newton versus Halesworth Town, and Sudbury Sports Academy versus Bennell St Mary. Alex, out of those fixtures, which ones are you kind of looking forward to?
To be honest, as much as SIL versus Furlough, the Hawley Cranes one looks quite a decent one to go and watch. Haverhill Cops, I say you were just discussing there, obviously, about Haverhill and like facilities and stuff that they've got there. I was there at the weekend. We're playing Haverhill Rovers, obviously, which is right next to Haverhill Borough. Their facilities are kind of all together, I believe. So, yeah, but that'll be difficult for Cops as well.
Cops will fancy it, though, won't they?
Say again?
Cops are going to go into that and fancy it.
Yeah. I'm not being funny. It's now got to the point where SIL senior teams, when they're facing Furlough Nunn sides, they're not scared anymore.
It's quite level, isn't it? It's level.
Oh, it's so much more levelled off than what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, you've discussed tonight about saying the players dropping down and stuff like that. I don't think it's like that anymore. It's the same as managerial positions. It's not dropping down, it's going sideways. It's very much on the same par now, so it's brilliant when we get the Suffolk Senior Cup come up, and same with the Reserve Cup as well. Yeah,
definitely. We've had on here Cranes never do well away to Hawley, just lost their skipper to add to the loss of Tion and Blades as well. Adam, what kind of fixture are you looking forward to? You know, especially as you're more of a Furlough Nunn than an SIL guy. Any of those ties to your fancy?
That's tough. Like, I think some of the ones that are Step 7 playing each other are genuinely more appealing. I think Debenham playing East Bergholt, I think it's quite an important fixture for Debenham. That more so. Just getting through the cup, they need to start getting wins and getting the dressing room positive and getting things moving, because they've had some bad luck over the last couple of weeks with a few things. To be honest, like I say, Hawley Cranes, Achilles versus Framlingham could be interesting after what's happened. There's an interesting factor to it, but it's not the one that stands out.
The Sudbury one, the Sudbury Sports Academy. I'm going to be quite honest. If it's the same team that we played last season, Ransford Reserves, they're a very, very good side. And we played them, I think, it was one of the county cups, and they went on and won it. But I can't remember which one it was. And I think that's the reason why they've been put up to the Senior Cup, because they were very, very good.
Right.
And
there you go.
Bennell, however, I think they're surprising me how good they've come out. And the being so, interesting. Like I don't know. I'm just a lot of the sort of senior games. They are just interesting. And even Bildston, Capel Plough, I think that could probably go either way. Capel Plough had a couple of good results recently, so
for me, it's the Old Newton versus Halesworth. That game is going to be mental. That is a standout game in my opinion. I know you look at the 6th versus 7th tier and who's playing what, but that game on paper is going to be quality. I can't look beyond that this weekend. That's my standout one, if I'm being honest.
Do you know there's been one result in this already, I believe.
Has there?
I think, was it, I believe Ransoms played Brantham Reserve.
Yes, they did this weekend, didn't they? Yes.
They won on penalties. They were
Penalties, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe they were Ransoms were 2-0 down, and obviously brought it back to 2-2, and then won on penalties with one of my youngsters from last season scoring the winning penalty.
Very nice.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Yes, I know. There's a few people commenting on there saying about heavy breathing. I know.
That might be me.
Yes. There we go. So let's move on into the SIL now. The weekend's action. So we had Bilderstone picking up a 3-0 victory at home against Old Newton. Adam, Bilderstone, thoughts very quickly?
I knew they'd come good.
Good man. Bourneville versus Thorntonbury postponed. Cable Plough 2, Leyton St Margaret's 3, Crane Sports 3, Achilles 0, East Burgold beating Cobblestone's 3-0, Trimley Red Devils 4, Hawley 1, Westerfield 0, Claydon 6. And I'm just going to get this out there. Don't shoot me down, Cable Plough fans, but get in Leyton St Margaret's. 3 points, up and running. Get in there, lads.
That's
so pleased. So pleased.
But all of the mocking we do when teams go ages without playing or not winning or anything.
Yes.
You've got to love to see it when they win, no matter who they beat.
They needed that, really. They needed that to get their season up and running. It's a really nice club down there. It's
agree with that.
It's probably with the setup they've got down there. Very rarely you go down and see an SIL side with floodlights and facilities.
It's decent. Very good.
And it's been such a shame that they haven't been getting the results. That's good for them. As I say, no disrespect to Cable Plough, but
no, I don't mean it. I don't mean anything by it when I say that comment. I just, for me, as a neutral who sits there and reports and talks about the league, I just want it to be as competitive as possible, and I don't want to see anybody sitting there on 0 points and reporting about another loss. I want to see as many people in amongst it. I'm quite happy if every team is on, if after 12 games they're on 4 wins, 4 draws and 4 losses, because for me that just makes the whole league competitive. I don't want to see somebody running away and winning the title by November, and I don't want to see anybody relegated by Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
Are you going to back Wisbeach to hammer Dis then this week?
I will go on record now and say, come on, Wisbeach. You can get the victory, lads. Go and make it happen. If you need me to do some inspirational team talks for you, lads, just send me a DM and I'll do something for you. I want you to get a victory. I want you to do well.
Does that mean, Adam, do you have to do a forfeit if they do actually get the victory?
I like that. I like it.
I'm not going to do an Ellis Platten and sit here in a sausage suit. I'll tell you that much.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's bring a few more of your comments up on the board here. So, Sidekicks for Sport saying Hawley are having a poor run of results at the moment. Yeah, they really are.
It's such an open league, and we keep saying this each week. It just changes from one moment to the next. It's not consistent. It's not. How can I put it? It's not. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's the reason why I think probably the Super 6 is the way it is because people are going and thinking, oh, they had that result last week, they're going to do that this week, and then it changes.
Yeah.
On that Super 6, someone pulls an absolute banger out of the bag, gets a score that you'd never think is right, and then gets zeros for every other thing. And I think that backs the point up entirely.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got to look at Bilderstone.
Yeah. Adam, your main club, Bilderstone. You're in love with them.
Well, I was worried how they started the season compared to what I thought they'd do. But then they stick 3 back with no reply against Old Newton. Can't say fairer than that's an insanely good result.
Yeah, definitely.
Against Old Newton, to be honest.
I've I've got to
Go on.
agree with Bournemouth reserves on that one. I watched the highlights of that game, and no disrespect to Cranes, they obviously put their chances away, but that scoreline kind of not flattered them, but it didn't really show a great representation of like how really the game went. Do you know what I mean?
It's difficult when you're putting a highlights package together because I've
Yeah.
often found it where you
Oh
want
no,
to.
they represented both clubs very, very well. But what I'm saying is, when you look at that scoreline and go, "Oh, they lost 3-0."
Yeah,
It's not black.
Even
It's not
when you
black and
look
white,
at-
is it?
No, when you look
That's
at
right.
that, you actually look at those highlights and you look at them, and as I say, the highlights they put together were really well done because it
Right.
showed both sides, and that's one
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
I do like about Crane's highlights. They don't just show their
The good
side;
bits.
it's both sides.
yeah, yeah.
And you could see that sometimes it was just Achilles just didn't take their chances where Cranes did.
Yeah, and often that is the difference, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the results then put this is now what the league table is looking like. Again, unbelievably tight, but this is why we love the SIL Senior. It's an unbelievable league. Claydon top with 16 points from their 7 games. Halesworth and Trimley falling in right behind them, as are East Burgoll, Bennell, who are on 6 games and are only 3 points behind. Bilderston now, Adam climbing the table in 6th place. Absolutely loving life up there. Riding high. I'm gonna keep mentioning it every single week, mate. I'm gonna mention it.
3 losses in a row. Give me a break.
But again, you've then got clubs like Henley who have only played 4 games still. Ransoms who have only played 5. Cranes who have played 5. Hawley.
Genuinely, I think all eyes need to be on Bennell. 13 points and only 6 games played. I know their goal difference isn't there yet, but
Yeah.
give it a bit of time. I genuinely think like they're hovering in that position, and that could be dangerous.
Yeah. Dan says Upper Claydon. He absolutely loves it. Absolutely loves it. Thanks for getting involved, Dan. But yeah, it's interesting. You've got clubs like Copplestonians down there, Hawley, who did well last year, Crane, who have had a bit of an indifferent start, but are now starting to turn things around. Ransoms, who we know were a good team. This league is just unbelievably competitive. It's such an interesting watch as a neutral to just sit back and enjoy the football that's on display here. And literally, I think, and I said it the other week to somebody. I can't remember who I was talking about who I was talking to in my DMs, but I said any one of 8 or 9 teams could easily win this league, and you wouldn't be surprised.
I was just about to turn around and say that. To be honest, you're looking at that half on the left-hand side. If you're in that half, you're in it to win it.
Yeah.
And if you've also got a free Saturday, there's some great matches that can be played in this league. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
great viewing, lads. Good football.
It's great facilities, though. A lot of these clubs that you go to now, remember when I first started playing football down, you go to an SIL side, you're playing in the middle of a park.
Yeah.
It's not like that now.
This day is where you need to drag some people away from the furlough none on those free weekends, or when people don't fancy an away game. Get along to these games to expose more divisions and levels of football and show that you can go further down and still see good football.
Yeah, 100%.
You'll see it this weekend with the cup.
yeah. There you go. That's your advert for a lot of SIL teams, isn't it? When they're playing the furlough none ones, we're just as good, if not better, than some teams. Only one game this weekend, which is going on in the senior due to the Suffolk Senior Cup, is Bournemouth versus Ransom Sports, which again, it's a brilliant game. It's for the only game we've got in this division. That's a great game to be able to watch. So if anybody is available, anybody's in the area, go and check it out. Why not? It's free. SIL is free. There you go. There's your advertisement right there.
No, it's a good
If
game.
anyone turns up and has to pay £2 to get in, James, you're going to be in terrible trouble. So.
No, mate, you don't have to pay to get in there. I know you don't.
You can personally send me the invoice, and my DMs are open, as I mentioned earlier. But I predicted Cranes or Henley, and I'm staying with that. But obviously, leaning towards Henley now. The FA Vars games, yes, Mike. There are. We talked about it at the very opening of the fixtures, I believe. Didn't we, Adam? Have I mentioned those FA Vars games yet?
No, you haven't done Vars.
Don't think so, mate.
No.
Well, there you go.
You've done FA Trophy, but not FA Vars.
I'll bring that graphic up in a few moments for you, Mike. Dean, Benna were naughty calling theirs off against ball. I don't know the full ins and outs, Dean. If you want to let me know on that, you can put it in the comments, mate. And I'll
Is it another case of someone having a suspect cough that wasn't a cough? I'm not even going to call it what
I think every club's got one of them in the locker this season. After a few clubs have.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like a get out of jail free card, isn't it? That someone in the dressing room just coughs.
I do not. I do not condone this.
In the dressing room. No one should be in the dressing room.
Oh, that's another.
I do not condone this chat. It's not. I'm not a part of this chat. Div 1 results from the weekend. We had Bagton 2, Wickham Market 3. The Barham versus Southwold game. Are Barham ever going to play a game of football again? I'm getting so worried.
Their passports will run out, and they're not going to be allowed back in the country.
You know that advert that's on the radio at the time or at the moment. There are new rules coming in about travelling to the EU that we are going to have to start setting up rules and restrictions for Barham. It's getting ridiculous. I want them to play a game of football. I just want to be able to talk about Barham and do you know what? They're not going to like it, even if they lose, just so I can report something about Barham. Come on.
Barham did a thing.
They did something.
Half an hour segment on the show just about Barham.
We can make that happen. People want us to go for 3 hours. So if they do play a game, we can make it happen.
Barham in focus.
Love it. Codnam 3-3 against AFC Kesgrave. Grunsborough 2-1 against Tattingstone United. That's a very, very good victory for Grunsborough. Sporting 4-2 against Bedricks. Obviously, we saw the cup game, Adam, so we knew what both teams were capable of on their day. And Fergus, your results 2-0 to the boys at Stanton against Wen Hastings United. Alex, I can already hear you reacting to that Tattingstone result. Go for it, my friend. Go for it. Comments, destroy him as much as you want.
Well, that's two losses now, isn't it? No, I don't think Tattingstone have got to worry, to be honest. I think with them that might, I might be wrong. That might just be a blip. The side that they've got there is a quality side. I don't know what side they had out that day. I don't know if they had people missing or what, but Grunsborough's not a bad side.
Nobody is in this division. Let's face it. Again, it's another very competitive division. There's nobody in this league that's just going to simply roll over. Do you know what I mean? There's none of that at all.
As I say, we turned around and said right at the start, this league is going to be a difficult league to get out of.
Yeah.
And that's proven to be, because the other thing the Tattingstone have got to look at is people are going to want to go there and probably beat them a little bit more. And that's not a horrible thing to do. It's because of the quality that they've got there.
Yeah, I actually think that's credit to Tattingstone and the image they've created for themselves and what they've got there. I don't take anything away from them for that. No. People will play differently against them for it.
Yeah. You'll find it throughout the leagues. It's the same as when people were playing Cranes. They'll put that little bit more effort in. When they're playing Cranes, it's like, they're top of the league. We've got to do well with this. This could kickstart our season. Yeah, and it's the same thing in this league. I think the team that are benefiting from it are Wickham.
Yeah.
They're slowly creeping up the league there. I think they're still top. They were top last week, I believe.
Yeah, they're won every game.
They're going to be the ones that are going to be so difficult to move. I think.
I don't want to say I called it at the beginning of the season, but
it's consistency, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I'm still saying Sporting are going to be up there. So having that result there, 4-2 against Bedricks-Worth, playing obviously the second time, but just first time in the league this season.
I had a source that was at that game watching, and goalkeeper errors led to a couple of the Sporting goals. It's not something I'm overly surprised at, but
Yeah.
As I say,
Was he told to man up?
well,
more than likely.
a very loopy header apparently, and just a drop, I think, from somewhere. But yeah,
I think I don't know what people might turn around and say a little bit more in the chat, but the weather this weekend was very windy, and if you're playing on an open ground, even the ground we were playing at, even though it's quite enclosed, it was still very windy, and it still took control of the game. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that might have been something to do with it.
a famous victory ground. There's no excuses there, is there? Like, it's just a good place to go.
Yeah, nice pitch, nice surface.
Yeah.
But no, the Stanton result, hopefully that will kickstart your season there, mate. To be honest, that's from listening to what you're saying and stuff like that, it's very good. And it's nice to hear that a manager wants to go in and use the youth and use the ability that you've come in from a higher level, seeing how it works there and using those points and stuff like that to bring into, let's say, the level you've come into now. 2-0 result there, brilliant.
It's a good win. It's a very good win.
Yeah,
good start for the lads and give them some confidence back. You know.
Yeah.
It's up to them to kick on now. I'll give them the tools and see how they get on. Really.
That's all you can do, really. But I've always come out and said I like the youth coming through. I've tried to do it with the clubs that I've been at. I know we were talking about fellow non-sides earlier. I think a lot of those reserve sides that you were saying that are kicking on at fellow non level, they've got a lot of A sides as well.
Yeah.
Which obviously bridge that gap from the under 18s to the A side into the reserve. So I think that helps a lot as well.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to the league table then after those results. So we've got, again, Wickham, look at them, 6 out of 6, absolutely perfect start to the season. Sporting on 5 games, 1 behind them, but are on 12 points now, so they're taking advantage of Tattenstone's back-to-back defeats from the past few weekends. And then again, a whole cluster of teams in the chase and pack behind them. And we've still got, again, look at Barham now into the bottom 2 because they've only played the 1 game. It's just...
That's horrible.
It's horrible to see. Absolutely horrible to see.
If they don't come back with a proper tropical tan and playing with no boots on, barefoot, thinking they're still doing beach football, then they haven't made the most of this time. It's an absolute joke.
But Fergus, obviously you're newly into the club, having looked at that at the league table and what you know. That victory, just to kind of get yourselves up and running, how important is that?
Yeah, I think from the week before they lost as well, but like I said, Alex said earlier, it's never the result what you see on the table there or in the results section. Games are different to the scores really, and last week, to be fair, not sounding the keeper out, but there's a young boy giving an opportunity, a greasy surface, and he misjudged one, and of course, he was like under the caution for the whole game, and like earlier, he it's tough, isn't it? When you come into the men's side to play well. So little players' decision making and errors cost a couple of goals. So we're gonna get rid of that, really.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always difficult as a goalkeeper as well because I've done it for years. You make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it's noticed.
Yeah.
You make a mistake as a forward player. You scuff a shot. You could go and stick 3 goals in, and people will forget about that scuff for the rest of the game. But if you make a
mistake as a goalkeeper and you concede, though, that's why.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It doesn't get forgotten.
I think what I loved about the game was the boy reacted really well in the second half, and he that's what you want to see, a bit of character.
Yeah.
So it's all good going forward.
You've definitely got to have that as a young goalkeeper these days because you do. I see it so many times standing on the sideline at all levels of football. As to say, a goalkeeper can get quite a bit of stick. But it's the way you pick yourself up and go, right, okay, that's done. I've learned by that. Get on with it.
Yeah, definitely. Joel, we will update the table for you next time around. This is why I love you guys. You put me in my place. I love it. Absolutely love it. We will make sure that table is updated for you next time around. So the weekend's fixtures.
Barham will be buzzing from that adjustment.
Yeah. God's sake, Adam. Brilliant. So we've got Bedricks versus Bacton, Coddenham versus Wenhaston United, Stanton versus AFC Kesgrave, Stowe Falcons versus Barham. Well, we all know that fixture's not going to happen. Tankstone versus Sporting 87, and Wickham versus Grungeborough. Tattingstone versus Sporting. That's the fixture of the weekend from this division. Fergus, I know you're from a standard perspective, but even you've got to admit that game on paper, that's the standout, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're both vying for second place at the moment, so it's a very important 3 points there going for it, the winner.
Definitely.
Scoring the winner.
For you, Kesgrave could be the fixture that you need right now after the start that you made there last week.
Don't make those comments, Adam. You don't make those comments. That'll come back to bite them.
I can make that comment. Right. In terms of confidence and where everyone's placed at the minute, do you think that's a good fixture for you?
Well, it's like this. Our approach will be no different to if it was top of the table, bottom of the table. You know, everyone on their day can do well. So, you know, looking forward to it.
Because, you know, from a neutral perspective, you know, from a Kesgrove perspective, obviously they've now stopped their losing run. They've got 2 draws back to back. They'll be thinking, well, do you know what? Stanton, yes, they won last weekend, but they've also lost the opening 3 fixtures. So they'll be looking at this again from their perspective, thinking, well, this is now our opportunity to get a victory. Do you know what I mean? So it's
the Tattingstone game, just for different reasons.
Yeah. Definitely. Let's move on now into Division 2's results. So we've got AFC Yorkshires 3, Bramford Road Old Boys 4, Cockfield 7-0 against Thurston, and we've already had Luke's comment up about the Thurston result. Elmswell 1, Ufford Sports 2. I think that's a bit of a shock. Most people consider that as a shock. Saxmundham 3-1 against Stonham Aspel, Somersham 1, Melton 5, and Wolfstone 5, Ipswich Athletic 0. Guys, what's the standout? Is there a standout?
I think goals-wise, you've got to look at the AFC Yorkshire shirts and the Brob game. Just for that look like, I don't know, weren't there? Haven't really looked at.
We pulled that out as a key fixture last week, though, as well.
Yeah,
was that
delivered. So
was it a to and fro game, or was it you know, Bramford Road Old Boys were 4-0 up and they scored 3 goals? Or so I don't know if anyone's in there that's went to the games. Just stick it in there, let us know.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
Cockfield won. Quite surprised at that. Playing Thurston the other week, I'm actually quite surprised about that. Cockfield is a very difficult place to go to, but very surprised that they got beaten that badly. Don't know, say once again, don't know if they've had players out or I don't know, just didn't turn up that game. Yeah.
The Elmswell one for me is that I'm looking at that as a bit of a shock, because I know of starting to turn things around, but Elmswell have been one of the pre-season favourites for this division. Do you know what I mean? Oh,
sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's me.
We did think that might happen. But yeah,
Pizza's arrived.
Melton 5-1 as well is a very impressive result. But Wolverstone 5-0 against Ipswich. I mean that in itself, they're having a terrific start.
Great start, and they kept a clean sheet in there as well. Which, you know me, I love it when a team can keep a clean sheet, especially this season when goals are flying for fun. So I think that's big.
Yeah. Melton done well to win at Somersham as well, because the pitch really is terrible. Somersham are good at home because they're used to it, which is an interesting point. And Ryan had said on here, we played Cogsfield pre-season. They'll be right up there this year. Based on that, let's look at the league table from those results. So this is how things stand. Again, we've got Wolfstone top, 4 wins from 4. And then I believe Have Melton not played? I believe I've made a bit of a mistake on here because I don't think Melton are actually have won 4 games. I think they've only won the 3. So I believe Bramford Road Old Boys are currently in second place. I'll have to re-look at that. Somebody in the comments, I'm sure, will.
They're on 11 points in second.
Who's that? Bramford Road Old Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. I've made a bit of an error on this one, but I know that the rest of the table kind of falls out of whack on that one after that. But yeah,
that's the one that's a really, once again, that from third downwards is one of those ones that could just change in a couple of games quite quickly.
You got to look at the fact that Wolverstone are sitting top. They've played practically the least games in the league. It's a joke. Like they've got a heck of a chance to open a gap up.
I want to go and see them at some point this season because they look to be very, very impressive so far this season. Plus 14 goals already is brilliant. So I'd like to go and see them at some point this year if I can. But the weekend's action from Div 2, so we've got the fixtures that are coming for the week. So we've got Bramford Road Old Boys versus Elmswell, Melton versus Thurston, Somersham versus Saxmundham, Stonham versus AFC Yorshirts, and Ufford versus Curtin Athletic.
Stonham only just been punished with that fixture like the other week.
Yeah.
They literally did it the week before last. I feel so bad about them.
Yeah.
Is that Stonham?
Stonham, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just they're not been able to catch a break where they're getting someone on a comparative level with them in the league to try and pick up points. So it's just getting hard game after hard game.
Yeah, definitely.
It is hard. As I say, I hate it because I say Stonham I think is a great club. And you do look at the other teams in there. They're all very mix and match, and obviously Alfred have picked up a good string of results and stuff like that. But it's very mix and match in there, and you can't really call it. I don't think.
Odd.
Sorry, Adam.
I think this league's very, very odd this season. Like, there's so many teams that are performing at a very similar level. I'm not quite sure what it's going to take for teams to break away because it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the moment.
Very tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fergus, do you agree with Sidekicks for Sports and the Bramford Road Old Boys Elmswell games a standout one from this division?
Yeah, definitely. There's 2 good sides going at it. So I'll go for Bramford in that one. I think they'll they want to keep up with the top race really.
Bramford have got a good side. You look at it on paper. You look at it on paper and you know they're a good side and they're a tough side to play against. And but Elmswell, as much as I don't know if they've had that many cup games as well in there.
They've had cups, they've had postponements, they've had where I think they weren't even involved in any fixtures because of no reason, and I think it's just started to catch up now. Do you know what I mean? It then makes everything look 10 times worse because they've only played the 2 games, but they're sitting third from bottom. Do you know what I mean? It's very similar to the Barham story in Div 1.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating as well for us to comment on it because it's where there's no consistency. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
It seems like everyone's in their pre-season. It's strange.
That's
it's like
so true.
It hasn't kind of got out of like second gear yet. I don't know. And that goes twirling on all the way down, really, as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Teams that you think are going to go out there and perform really well, and on paper they should go out and perform really well. They'd go out, they start performing really well, and then they'll have a call off. They'll have a postponement, and then the week afterwards they might not be as prepared, and they might get a draw or they might get a loss, and it's still very
so inconsistent.
It's difficult as managers as well because you're having to prepare on a weekly basis where normally you could look at it and go, right, I've got those 3 or 4 fixtures, and you can think, well, that's probably going to be a little bit more of a tougher game, and so on and so forth. But even you can't really do that. You've literally got to do it on a weekly basis at the moment.
Yeah.
The Furlough None clubs don't have that challenge. And the leagues are not comparable. Like the Furlough None clubs, you can actually start thinking about their form and how they're performing because they are basically playing most weeks, all bar COVID. these clubs seem to have so many challenges which don't allow them to have league form.
I think the midweek games
Ridiculous.
help furlough non-clubs.
Yeah, 100%. I do agree with that. And
having those
challenges are
midweek,
different.
yeah, having those midweek games, but also you've got to look at it as at their reserve level as well, their furlough non-reserve level. They have midweek games and games on a Saturday, so that as a club as a whole is a lot different to obviously with the SIL. If your first team haven't got a game, you need to play players, so they may drop down into the reserves. That makes it inconsistent sometimes as well, and vice versa.
Yeah,
it's an interesting point. It really is.
Yeah. Div 3 time now. So we've got Aldborough 2 all against Hope Church. We've got Bardwell 3-0 against Laxfield. Ockhold and AFC Wanderers playing out what looks like a belter on paper, 3-3 draw. Unity and Stage had to go and one up them by playing a 3-6 result. Witnesham Wasps 2-0, and again very, very similar to what we were talking about earlier. Aldborough getting your first point of the season. Get in there, lads. Stop the losing run. Absolutely vital for you. It's not the victory, but as I said, it keeps you in the hunt and it keeps you in the mix and it gets you off the board. I'm so chuffed for everyone with the club. Hopefully they can get themselves a victory next time around. Stage, very impressive. Very impressive. To score 6 goals in any game, but to score it away from home, that's a great result for them.
Yeah. I've followed Stage quite a bit. I know a few of their players. I know the management team. You know, the hard work that they've put in there, and it's starting to show now. Obviously, don't really want to concede in 3. You know, but then again, that might be, as I say, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I haven't read the report or anything like that game, so I don't know if that was they got 4 or 5 and then kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Which does happen.
Key to getting 3 points, though, is just to score 1 more than the opposition. This job done.
Yeah. The one that say the Aldborough, that's good that they've got a point. But as I say, once again, Hope Church, it's one of those ones where you don't know what team you're going to get. Last week, I think, what was it? They played Bramford, didn't they? And they only lost 2-0. So to go and play, I think Aldborough are bottom, aren't they? I think at the moment
they are still bottom of the table. Because obviously that was their first point. But you know, from a Witnesham perspective and also from a Barwell Sports perspective, they both had very good starts to the season. And to keep up that pressure at the top of the table for both of them, you know, on paper against Laxfield and Ipswich, you would say, yes, that's a routine win. And you look at the result and you think, well, maybe, that is a bit of a routine. But again, it keeps up that pressure whilst Bromford are not playing. Do you know what I mean? They're massive results for both teams.
Well, again, Exiles, I think they're going through a bit of a change. Where obviously they're coming back into the league where they left it. Was it last season or season before? I think it was last season. So they've come back into the league. They're having a bit of a sort out there and what they're looking to go, what route they're looking to go down. Witnesham Wasps they're a difficult side. They were good last season. They were really well at the beginning of the last season. It's just that consistency. You just want to hope that they carry that on.
Yes, Dan. In relation to your question, did anyone see the Stage Twitter? One of their players got a nasty stump mark. I did see it. That looked absolutely horrific. I don't know what it was. What the incident was, because obviously we weren't there to witness it. But yes, I have seen the image, and it does not look good. It really doesn't look good. But the results from the weekend means that this is what the league table looks like, and I'm just clarifying. Yes, I have got this one right. Bravo me. Bravo me. Well done, James. Everyone tip your hat to me. So, as I said, Bardwell and Witnesham keeping up the pressure at the top of the table. Those 3 teams at the top are slowly breaking away from the chasing pack, although Kesgrove Kestrels do have a game in hand in 4th place as well. And again, good to see Aldborough picking up their first point of the season. I do just want to give a shout out to Ben Smith, because the Kesgrove Kesgrave name just popped up, and it just wanted me. I want to give him a bit of a shout out. Obviously, he was somebody who I spoke to during pre-season and during lockdown about his story. I think it's an absolutely incredible one. But he is now moved. He's now moved on from Kesgrave back into back. Who did he say he's gone to now? He did say in the chat. Capel, that's it. He's gone over to Capel Plough, and he did well on his debut, getting himself a goal and a couple of a couple of assists. So I just want to give him a bit of a shout out. So well done, Ben, on that performance.
We don't hear much from Capel, so it'd be quite nice to link up there and hear a bit.
Maybe get on. Yeah. Yes. So let's have a look at the fixtures for the weekend then from Div 3, and then we'll round things off with the FA Vars because I've got the graphic ready. Well done. FC Wanderers against Aldborough, Bardwell versus Hope Church, Kesgrave versus Great Blakenham, Laxfield versus Ipswich, Stage versus Ockhold, Unity versus Bromford, and Wortham versus Witnesham Wasps. I am looking forward to the Kesgrave Kestrels versus Great Blakenham result. That game, I don't know how to call that, because I know Kesgrave have been on a bit of good form, but Great Blakenham have been. Again, you look at that form, you just don't know which of their teams is going to turn up. So for me, that's the fixture I'm looking forward to.
You're looking at Wasps to keep up the pressure now up at the top end of the table.
Yeah,
they've got to.
Yeah. Both them and Bardwell will be looking at this again on paper as games they should be winning. Do you know what I mean? So
it's not always that easy, is it? In any league?
No, it's not. It's not.
I think sometimes the pressure goes on. You know, when you get games in hand and stuff like that, and you go, "Oh, we've got a chance to push away here because another side hasn't got a game." It can put that added pressure on you sometimes.
Yeah,
especially if it's a game you were expected to win.
That's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And yeah, Sean, we obviously talked about that earlier on in the show, but I'm glad you've got on board there, and I know that will go down well. You're lucky to have him on board, so well done. Yeah, as I said, rounding things off with the FA Vars first round, the fixtures from our area. So we've got Stanway Rovers away from home against Brooks and Michaels. We've got Galston versus Baldock Town, Ilford versus Clacton, Norwich United versus White Ensign, Walsham's the Willows versus Hoddesdon Town, Wellingborough versus Haverhill Rovers, Whittlesea Athletic versus Mildenhall, Fakenham versus Crawley Green, Mulbarton versus Newport Pagnell Town, and Norwich CBS versus Ipswich Wanderers. And Adam, we can exclusively reveal the game that we're going to this Saturday. I'll let you do the honours.
Yeah, so we're travelling all the way to Whittlesea. No, we're not. Yeah, we're going to go and watch Mulbarton play against Newport Pagnell and find out what they're all about.
Some of these names made up.
I bug Brooks St Michael's. I don't reckon that's an actual place. We wanted to go to that one, but even Google said no.
It sounds like more of a school than a football team, doesn't it?
Primary school, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Go and play in the sand for a day. I'm looking forward to going to see Mulbarton. To be honest, it's a place where I didn't even know where that was either. So go along. I mean, this year I'm just going on a geographical adventure, really. But I've actually been told already by someone else that Mulbarton's a class club.
I think they're a good side, yeah.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to it. And I love seeing a step 6, step 5 clash as well. I always enjoy that. Just
before people jump in on us as to why we're potentially going to this fixture, Mulbarton reached out to us a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? And said, we've got this game. We would really like you to come. We would really like you to come over and see what we're all about. We accepted this a couple of weeks ago, so we were dead set that this was going to be the game that we're going to. So unless there is a postponement, and we hope that there isn't, this is going to be the game that we're going to this weekend. And I echo Adam's. I'm really looking forward to it. Judging by what you guys are saying in here, Dan, good choice, Adam. You'll be made to feel very welcome in Mulbarton. Jack Owen, looking forward to welcoming you to Mulberry Park, gents. And Bucks is saying Mulbarton is a nice place to go to. I will enjoy the drive up the A140. Adam will enjoy just sitting back and relaxing.
Sleeping.
If not, we're going to be in your Wonder Wagon to Budbrook St Michael. I
think you have to get a train to get there, lads.
Oh, don't.
It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Very, mate. But yeah, so that's the game we're going to be going to. So great way to round off the show. Fergus, Alex, thank you very much for joining us as we went through
lads.
the
Really
lads.
enjoyed it.
Really, really pleasure.
No
Cheers.
worries.
Thank you
boys.
so much.
Thank you very much. Adam, rounding off another show. We went over the 2 hours as we always do. I don't know why I bother setting a deadline. It's
We may as
absolutely
well say we'll do it in 2 hours and 20 minutes because we hit that every week.
Yeah, definitely. But again, thank you very much to Fergus for coming on the show. It was really, really good insight from him. I really appreciate his time. Stanton are very, very lucky to have him on board. Alex, as always, great to have his insight from the SIL perspective. And thank you very much to everybody who's got involved in the comments tonight. We really, really appreciate really appreciate what everybody has to say, and all of your input is absolutely massively appreciated. Thanks to you to our sponsors, GBS, and to Starling and Locke. We really appreciate those guys for what they've done. Adam, anything else you want to say before we round up the show?
Nah.
Wow.
No, it's been good. I've really enjoyed tonight. I didn't really think when we were dialing in we'd be covering mental health, team's first victories, and celebrating madly over a draw. We've gone over a lot tonight, and it's been good. It's been diverse, and I hope you like the direction that we're going on, getting some interviews on, and using the interviews to talk about a broader range of topics, not just ask people, what do you do for a job? What's it like at the club? If we can try and get people on and get them talking about a broader range of football, that's really what we want to do.
Yeah.
And the direction that we'd like to take it. And thank you for interacting with it. Ferg was class tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Shane, really appreciate you getting involved in the chat earlier on, mate. Great show tonight. Thanks to Dean and Fergus for identifying mental health matters. It is good to talk. I 100% agree with that. Again, echo my words from earlier on. If anybody needs to chat, my DMs are open. I don't know what I can do, but if you just want somebody to talk to, I'm available. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever I can. I've been through different things myself, and maybe one day we'll actually do a whole episode based on that, Adam. If anybody is interested in that kind of thing, let us know. We will, maybe that's something that we kind of sit down and talk about as a one-off. So keep it, do something completely separate to the football side of things, just so that we can open up that conversation. But as a lot of people have said to me on Twitter, this has been a nice escape for a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? Just to have a couple of hours where all we do is just talk about football, just chat absolute rubbish. From your perspective, not mine, obviously. It's if people enjoy it, that's great. James Boothville, absolutely lovely club. Enjoy, gents. Great show again, fellas. Fergus was a great listen and finish. And to finish, thanks for the support from everyone who has messaged me. It's been good. Cheers, everyone. Great show. And again, absolutely everyone's pouring in with the love for Dino on there. And I'm going to leave Dean's message as the final comment up on here. It's okay to talk. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on tonight's show. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really, really have enjoyed it. Thank you very much. If you are from a YouTube perspective, remember, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Just share. Thank you so much. And we will be here next Monday at 8:30, as always. But until then, and until the next time that we see each other, adios.